Good morning, everyone. I'm Rebecca, the CEO of Veterans in Business Network. It is now 10 o'clock, but we're going to start in in one more minute to give any last minute stragglers an opportunity to log in. Oh, Kelly, you have control, Kelly?
Yes, let me.
There we go. Okay. All righty. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the take two of Grow Smart Independent Contractors or Direct Hire. I'm Rebecca, the CEO of Veterans in Business Network. We apologize again if you're joining us for the second time. Last week we had a bit of technical issues, but everything seems to be running smoothly. Let's cross our fingers. I just want to let you know a little bit more about the VIB Network. If you have not created a VIB Network directory profile, you want to make sure to do that as soon as you finish this webinar. This is where our corporations and our government agencies go to locate veteran businesses, SDVOBs, DVBEs. And if you don't know, we are getting contacted weekly by corporations and government agencies to go through our directory and find veteran businesses nationwide. And there are some amazing opportunities, so do not hesitate any longer and start and create your profile right now if you haven't already done so. The next one I also want to let you know about is our opportunity board. On our opportunity board, there are RFPs and RFIs on there weekly, and those change all the time. Those are different opportunities, everything from marketing and printing to construction to windows and concrete. So you want to check the opportunity board that we have on the VIB Network website weekly to find out if there is anything that fits your bill. The next thing is our signups for the newsletter. If you're not receiving the newsletter, you might want to get registered to receive the newsletter. If you are, then I'm happy that you're receiving it and happy that you're joining us today. And the last thing I want to let you know is to save the date for our VIB Network National Conference, which is going to be on November 8th and 9th in Sacramento. I was telling Kelly earlier that we're not exactly sure if we're going to have this virtual, in person, or a hybrid. So you want to make sure that you are watching for exactly what we're going to be doing, and we should have more answers, I would say, in the coming months. But definitely save the date, because those are the dates. Whether we do it virtually or in person or hybrid, those are the dates of our conference. Then we're very fortunate to have this wonderful expert, Kelly Bagla. So Kelly is not just a small business owner, she's a small business owner. She walks the walk, and she has steps and knows you are going through as a small business owner. She has written books and legal issues they may have in a business. We also have, Kelly has also, like I said, written a book, and with that, we are going to tackle on
Your voice is breaking up.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just finish up and then let's go with you. So without any further ado, let's move it on over to Kelly. Thank you so much, Kelly, for being here, and take it away.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much again, Rebecca. And I have to first start off by saying VIB is such an incredible organization, Veterans in Business. And in fact, there's a reason why you're attending today. It's because you want to make a difference in your business and you're serious business owners. So the very first thing that you need to do, and by the way, if you don't know me yet, I promise you, you'll get to know me, but I love to give out homework, right? If you don't give out action items, you're never going to accomplish certain things. So your very first piece of homework today is look into your networks, find another veteran that is not a member of VIB yet. Make sure that you have them sign up. And if it's one veteran you know, or 10 veterans you know, and then they might know someone. So your homework today is just at least one person that you know is a veteran, have them sign up with Veterans in Business. That being said, you are here because you don't want to get bit by the snake. As Rebecca said, I am a business attorney. I've been practicing for about 18 years now, I believe. And someone had mentioned the other day, they said, well, you've been practicing, maybe one of these days you might get it right, right? So today, fingers crossed, we'll get it right today. Today's topic is about worker classification. And you as a business owner, you do not want to get bit by the snake. A little bit again about me, founder of Bagla Law Firm. I've had my own business now for 11 years, going on 11 years. And at this time, I usually ask people to give me a round of applause, but since we are virtual, I'm sure that you can wave. Okay, so what is the law affecting worker classification, right? So there is an existing law, and then there's a brand new law that came out in May of 2018. The new law affecting classification of independent contractors versus employees and what you need to be aware of. That's what we'll be discussing today in a lot more detail. Here it is, the new law. It came through a case that was brought to the Supreme Court, and it is called the Dynamax Corporate Operations West Inc. case. In case you are interested in reading that case, I have a copy for you right here. And since you don't want to read 179 pages, I'm happy to minimize that for you and tell you exactly what the new law says. But before we get there, the old law is still in effect, right? It's still in effect. The old law is actually set through a case called Barillo, and it applies a multi-test 11 parts. This might get a little confusing, but if you bear with me, I promise you I'll walk you through each and every step. So today you will leave knowing exactly what the difference is between an independent contractor and an employee. But it's not just about having the proper classification for your worker. Right? That's not what this is all about. What this is all about is making sure that you are protecting your business from any threats that can be either internal or external. Hence, don't get bit by the snake. Now, worker classification actually falls within the top 3 massive mistakes that business owners make. The first massive mistake that they make is not incorporating their business, or not incorporating their business properly. There's a huge difference. The second massive mistake that business owners make is actually running out of money. That could be devastating. I'm actually, even though I am a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur just like you. I work hard at everything I've gotten, right? And it's a continuous struggle trying to get the next sale or the next client. I completely understand where you're standing. But the biggest number third huge mistake that business owners make is the classification of workers, which is usually classifying them completely in the wrong category. So in order for us to make sure that you are classifying your workers meaning independent contractors and employees. So I'm using both of those two categories and defining them as workers. The Barillo case is still in effect, even though we have the new one, the new case. The Barillo case is still in effect, and it applies 11 parts. So let's walk through them one at a time. The first one is whether the person performing services is engaged in a business distinct from the principal. And what does that mean? So I'm going to give you examples as I'm walking through these 11 parts. I'm a law firm. I'm an attorney and I practice law. So me being the principal in this case, I'm a law firm. And if I choose to hire someone to do marketing for me, right? Because constantly you have to market as a small business owner, you constantly have to market. I don't know anything about marketing. I could sit back and learn, but then again, that takes away from what I actually love, and what I do is practicing law. So if I was going to hire someone to do marketing for me, well, that person performing the services is engaged in a business distinct from the law firm. So they don't practice law, therefore it's a distinct business from what I do. Number two, whether or not the work is a part of the regular business of the principal. Again, I practice law, I incorporate, I draft contracts, I negotiate, I help clients buy and sell businesses. That's what I do. But the worker that I'll be hiring does marketing, right? So it's not part of the regular business. Marketing isn't part of what I do as the principal. Number three, whether the principal supplies the tools and place for the person doing the work. That means whether I buy a graphic artist technology for the marketing person I'm bringing on, whether I create any of the marketing tools that the marketing person is going to bring on. So those are the tools that the principal, me, would be supplying to the person, the worker. So keep those three in mind as we move along. I am just going to minimize this. There you go. Number four is investment made by worker in the equipment required for work. Now, as a employee, if I was going to hire someone to draft contracts for me, I would require them to come into the office and I would supply them with a computer. Now, for someone that was doing marketing for me, they would have to use their own equipment. I wouldn't provide them anything, not even a computer for them to actually work from. Number five, whether the service rendered requires a special skill. For marketing, absolutely requires a special skill because I don't have that skill. Again, as a law firm, I don't market, I don't provide marketing services. This is kind of tricky. You should really pay attention to number five, because again, it says whether the service rendered requires a special skill. If you were going to hire someone as an admin person, if I was going to hire someone as an admin person, does that require a special skill? It's a good question, which I will answer later on. Number six, whether the work done under the direction of the principal, right? So again, I'm the principal, I'm a law firm, I'm hiring a marketing person, and again, I don't know the ABCs of marketing. I do know the ABCs of law. So whether the work done under the direction of the principal, I would not be able to direct the marketing person as to how he or she should be doing their job. Number 7, can the worker make a profit or loss? I'll give you an example. If I hire the marketing person and I say to the marketing person, if you can bring me business, you have an option of making a commission. Okay, that's making a profit or loss. If you don't bring in new business, then you're not making a commission, which is the loss part. 100% of the time, you never actually offer this to an employee. You don't say to the employee, you go out, bring me work, and I pay you on commission. That's completely unheard of in the traditional definition of what an employee is. Number 8, the length of time for which the services are to be performed. When you hire an employee, you don't say to the employee, unless they are seasonal, unless they are part-time, unless they are just hired for a specific reason. But in general terms, you hire an employee for as long as you're in business, as long as you need that work to be done. So for the long haul. But if you're hiring an independent contractor, it's usually based on a project. It's not for the long haul. You don't say we're going to be, together for this year and many years to come. So the length of the services is very important. Number 9, the degree of performance of the working relationship. Now, what do I mean by that? Or what does the case Barillo mean by that, right? So you can hire someone that you have known forever. I love dogs. I'm always at the dog park with my dogs, and sometimes you talk to other dog people there, and sometimes you get to know what they do as well. So that could be a friendly relationship. But and in that respect, you can even hire them as independent contractors, even though the performance of the working relationship was based on being friends first, and then you hire them. The performance of a working relationship with an employee, yes, you can be cordial, you can be friends with them, but the reason you hired them isn't because they were your friends, it's because you need a job done and you hire them as an employee. There's a huge distinction there. Number 10, the method of payment, whether by time or by job. If you're an employee, and we all have been employees, we get paid either every 2 weeks or every month, and we know we're going to get paid, right? We go in, we put in our 8 hours. Sometimes when you're a brand new attorney, you put in 15, 16 hours a day. But you go in and put your time in, and you do that over and over and over again until you decide to leave or you are laid off. With an independent contractor, it's not, you do not pay them on the time that they've been with you, such as they come in, they do the work, they repeat the work, day after day, week after week. But it's usually on a project base, or you say to them, I have 10 hours that I need you to dedicate to this project, right? So that's a huge, huge distinction between an employee and an independent contractor, is the method of payment, by time or by job. 100% of the time, if you're hiring an independent contractor, it should be by job. It should be by project and not on a timely basis. Otherwise, you really are walking that fine line between an employee and an independent contractor classification. And 11 is whether or not the parties believe they are creating an employer-employee relationship. That's a huge one. As the principal, as the employer hiring this worker, if I don't make 1,000% sure that the person I'm hiring is either going to be an employee or an independent contractor, Then if the government gets involved and they decide to take a look at how you're classifying your workers, if you believed as the hiring employer that it was an independent contractor relationship, but that other person thought it was more of an employee relationship, guess what it's going to be classified as? Yes, an employee relationship. This is very, very important, the number 11, and that's how and where you should be using actual independent contractor agreements, specifically stated with certain terms in it, to make sure that the other person you're engaging with actually understands what type of relationship they're getting into. Now, that was the old law, which is still in effect, right? All those 11 points are still in effect. On top of that, the government said, well, you know, we don't think we've made your life hard enough as business owners, right? Let's just make it a little more harder, and let's throw in this brand new law. Again, it's this 179 pages right here, if you would like to read it. And this case came out with the ABC test. What does the ABC test imply? Let's start off with the A part of the test, right? So A, the worker is free from the control and direction of the hirer in connection with the performance of the work. The worker is free from the control and direction of the hirer. So if you are hiring an independent contractor to do marketing for you, you do not tell that person that they need to be at the office 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or noon. You do not tell them that they have to use a specific software to create your marketing material. You do not tell them that you will buy their equipment for them so they can perform the work for you. You should have zero control over how they perform the work. You can absolutely tell them this is the work we need done, and then you let them do it. And then you set a time on that too. You know, we need this project done by the end of the week. That is it. That is the A part of the test. You as the employer, the hiring person, should be free from any control and direction of the worker. I'll be happy to answer questions towards the end, and I understand this can be very confusing, but that's why we're here today, to walk through this together. The B part of the test is the worker performs work that is outside the usual course of business. That's where people get so confused, right? The usual course of business. So again, I'm a law firm, I practice law. I hire a marketing person, which is completely outside of my usual course of business, completely outside of that. Has to be completely separate from what you do as a day-to-day business. The C part of that test is the work is customarily, or should be worker, the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business. Now, what the C part is saying, and this is extremely important for every business owner to understand. If you didn't understand the A part or the B part, the C part is really, really important. If you hire someone that is a sole proprietor, and if they just started their own business and you are their only client, guess what? That person is going to be classified as your employee. You don't want that. It can be very, very expensive for you. You have to make sure that this person that you're going to hire is independently established in a trade, occupation, or business. The best way, and really the only way to get around and work and to make sure that you're in compliant with the C part of the test, is that this person that you are hiring either is incorporated, has its own has his or her own business, or they have multiple clients that they work with and you are not the only person that they are working with. So what happens if your independent contractor is found to be an employee? You see it there, right? In red letters, you pay federal Social Security, right? They're going to automatically say the independent contractor that you were treating as if they were independent, they came and went as they wished. They provided the services by the deadline that you provided. But however, the government said, no, we think that you were walking the fine line and that this person, this worker, is actually your employee. So they're going to say, what are the penalties? You have to pay federal Social Security for that person for the duration of the time that this person was working for you. You pay payroll taxes. So they're treating this person, this worker, as your employee. You pay payroll taxes for the duration of the time this person was working for you. You also pay unemployment insurance taxes. You also pay unemployment insurance taxes. You also pay state employment taxes. As you can see, it gets very, very costly, very expensive. Plus, on top of that, everybody knows workers' compensation is extremely expensive, but you will have to pay, again, for that duration of the time that this person was working for you. And just to throw in some more expenses and penalties and fees, it doesn't just stop here. Guess what they're going to do next? The government's going to ask the worker, okay, worker, when you went to work, did you get your breaks? Did you get a paid lunch? Right? The worker's obviously going to say, no, I didn't. So now you have to go back and pay for the breaks that you didn't give this person, the lunches that you didn't offer this person, the lunch breaks. And again, it can be very, very costly. And I just want to spend another minute on this part because I have seen I've seen business owners go through this exact thing, thinking that they were hiring an independent contractor, but the government decided, no, this person's an actual employee. And so this ends up potentially bankrupting a business owner. It's very heartbreaking and it's very devastating for that person who's really trying to build a business or just starting to build a business. And only because they had no idea about the distinctions between the two workers and they didn't know which laws were in effect. Before I go through the right way to hire an independent contractor, not only is the old law in effect, which was the Barillo case, it has the 11 points that you have to go through and check mark. You also have the brand new case, the Dynamax case, right? And that has the ABC. Plus you have to go through and check off the ABC part of it. On top of that, you have two more checklists that you have to go through because all of these government entities, they can't come to an understanding or an agreement where they can have one definition of what an independent contractor is. Again, they're trying to make life a little more difficult for you. So the other two pieces of information that you have to be aware of and you can go through is there's a classification, a worker classification checklist that the EDD provides you. And there you get to go through a 13-point test, right? Did the worker do this? Did the worker do that? Did the worker do this? Sometimes it's going to be a yes or a no, or yes, yes, or no, no. And you really have to make sure that you actually comply by the EDD 13-point test as well. And just to make things a little more difficult, now you have the IRS involved. The IRS comes in and they say, we don't necessarily agree with the definition of the EDD or the Barillo case or the Dynamax case. So we're going to have our own 20-point test, 20 questions. It's a 20-point test. I've been through this. I've done the research on this. I've helped numerous clients, go through these as well. I'll be happy to provide you with the EDD checklist and the IRS checklist. And in fact, as Rebecca had mentioned earlier on, that I have a brand new book that is out, and the publisher, it also comes with a website. The publisher is Wiley. And so once you purchase the book, you have access to the website, and you get so much information there, absolutely free. It's all included. You can actually download the EDD checklist and the 20-point factor IRS checklist from there as well. So the right way to hire an independent contractor: must have. The independent contractor must have his or her own business. Incorporated is number one. Not incorporated, again, must have more than you as a client. Must have more than you as a client. Must have their own equipment. You cannot provide them with a computer, even though you have an old one sitting around. That's a big no-no. Can't do it. They must have their own business card. It's as simple as getting one. You can create one. Anyone can create one nowadays, but they have to provide you with their business card. They have to have their own working area. Even though they say, okay, we'll come into the office and you've got a room in the back where they can work, it's questionable, but they really do have to have their own working area. You have to, I cannot stress this enough, because when push comes to shove and this worker is questioned by the authorities, whether they were independent contractor or an employee, what's going to save you is actually having an independent contractor agreement. There are thousands on the web, thousands, but which one is the one that actually has the proper wording in that to say that they are an independent contractor? You have to be very, very careful as to what you download from the web. Very, very careful. And then they must work on projects. Please do not put your independent contractors on an hourly basis. Please don't say, I'm going to give you the bare minimum, or I'm going to give you $20 an hour and go ahead and do this project. Who do you put on an hourly basis? Employees. So no hourly basis, project basis, even though these are repeat project basis. Again, project basis, project A, project B. Name the projects, at least they're separate projects. And then they must, this person must invoice you first before you pay them. You cannot, and I know from your generous hearts, you want to go out and you want to thank them because they've done a fantastic job and you're giving them their money that you owe them. No, you have to wait until they invoice you. This is a huge distinction between an employee and an independent contractor, because employees, they do not invoice you. They don't. You pay them consistently on a regular basis. But an independent contractor must invoice you before you actually pay them. This is the book that I was talking about. I am super, super excited about this book. It is called Go Legal Yourself. And I have just touched upon a teeny tiny bit of information that you need to know as a business owner. As a business owner, you should be aware of how to start your business, grow your business, and if you want to eventually, how to sell your business, how to prepare your business and avoid the painful legal pitfalls that every business owner falls into. Okay, if you have heard nothing else today, this, I promise you, this is going to be a lifesaver for you. It's $20. It's absolutely nothing. It's 2 cups of coffee, right? Would you rather save the $20 today, or would you rather save hundreds and thousands of dollars down the road because you spent the $20 today and you're actually doing it correctly. It's a fantastic book. It should be really kept next to your bedstand, and it's just laid out in plain English. If you liked this presentation, you are going to love, love, love the book. Questions?
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. This was great. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them into the question and answer period. But we do have a couple questions. First of all, is there anything specific that they should look for in an independent contractor agreement? Is there different categories that people should, look for when they're looking to do that independent contractor agreement?
Absolutely. The number one thing that anyone should be looking for in an independent contractor agreement is work made for hire. Write these words down. In an independent contractor agreement, you must have these words, work made for hire. And you'll never see those in an employee agreement.
Okay, excellent. And let me just a follow-up question. So if I have a construction company and I'm hiring a contractor, independent contractor, or if I have let's say something with an office, I'm going to just hire somebody to, do your marketing. Are those the same type of agreements?
They are, absolutely, because the services part, right, of the agreement is usually an attachment, because you have to have an attachment with an independent contractor. Again, it's project based. So when you have a new project, you have a new exhibit A, if you will. You can call it exhibit A. And you can have multiple exhibits as long as you actually have the attachments to make sure that these are the projects that this person's working on.
Okay, excellent. And then if you hire an independent contractor and you don't know if they have other clients, you met them and you just don't know. Is this something you need to ask them, or is it your responsibility to, as a contractor? Because I know that a lot of people do this. I'm just going to hire somebody to, do my marketing or do my videos or whatever. And how do I find that out? Or is you're saying it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm not the only client then?
Absolutely. So who do you think that the government's going to come after, right? It's not the worker. That's why it's very, very important when you do hire someone, follow the process. There is a process that you really should follow. The number one person that you should really look for, if it was just an individual as a sole proprietor or someone that actually has a corporation, always go with the corporation, always, because that's going to be your saving grace. It's always going to save you, because now it's business to business, right? And it's not an individual. You're not doing business with an individual. Mm-hmm. So yes, that responsibility is 100% yours.
Excellent. Well, great.
Let's throw that on there too, shall we?
Yes, exactly. And now let me just ask you a little bit of a tax question, a tax hiring question. So when you're going to, you have your independent contractor, this is a 1099 kind of thing, or what, what is your process when you're hiring the independent contractor? You just...
Yes, please. So when you're hiring an independent contractor, right, again, the process is completely different as if you're going to hire an employee. With an employee, you actually have an employee file, right? And there's a lot of information that you need to keep in that employee, in that file. When you're hiring an independent contractor, again, you must get their business card. So you're going to have a folder for them. You must have their business card. You must have some sort of marketing material that they've given you, that this is what their services are. You must have an independent contractor agreement that you sign with them. You must also get their W-9, right, which later on you would submit them with a 1099 at the end of the year. Without the W-9, you can always go back and ask them for it, but you should ask them for it at the beginning. There are issues later on if the relationship doesn't work out and you still need their W-9, so you can submit them with a 1099. Issues can arise. So those are the top main things that you really should have in that file when you're first initially hiring an independent contractor. And again, if this person is not incorporated, ask them for references to other businesses that they're helping, or other clients that they're helping. Always ask for references.
Okay, excellent. And now Roy has a question. It says, you own let me just see here. It says own equipment sometimes on job site. On the job site they share equipment because of general conditions. How strict is this that you have to kind of own your own equipment or shared equipment if they're coming on a job site?
For example, something like that in the field, if the equipment's already there, right, and it's going to cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars to go out and get your own equipment, that you can make concessions there. Absolutely, you can make concessions. But if you are in construction and you don't even own a hammer, right, and then obviously that's going to be questionable. You can't go around sort of asking everyone, I can do your job for you, but you have to give me the tools to do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay, excellent. And then if you can show that slide one more time of your book. And I'm gonna, while we have everybody here, well, we don't show the slide yet. The first person, we're giving the book away. So we will get in touch with you, but the first person who can tell me how many books has Kelly written. And so you if you can just put your, the first one to answer that will get a free book from the VIB, courtesy of the VIB, from Kelly. Oh, there we go. Edward, looks like, oh, let's see. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Edward is our winner. He says 4 books. And so excellent. Thanks, Edward. I will get you an email and so that you can win the book. Kelly, I mean, you have so much experience over the years, with all of the books. Is there a theme to the books? Is there, like, the first year was this, the second year was this? Tell us about, people can get all 4 books if they'd like. Of course, you'd love that. But I mean, is there different information on the books, or is it just always updating? Because the law is always updating.
Fantastic question. Thank you, Rebecca. So the very first edition that I wrote, To Go Legal Yourself, that was written out of passion, right? And I was self-published, and it actually became bestseller on Amazon. So I was pretty proud of that, being self-published. And the theme of my books, they're all about supporting entrepreneurs. That's the gist of it. Then the second book is called Go Own Yourself, and you can also purchase that on Amazon. Go Own Yourself is really more about, now that you have a business, how do you go out and sell, right? Because you are the product, you are the face of that business. If you're shy in doing networking, if you're shy in standing out, if you're not quite sure how to attend something, this book really breaks it down for you. And I really loved and enjoyed working on that book, right? So I highly recommend it to anyone that is in business. The third book, that's an actual ebook, and they can go directly, and it's free, completely free. They can go to baglalaw.com, BAGLALAW.com, and go to Books by Kelly, and you will see the third book. It's called Doing Business in the United States. And that is primarily for foreign-based companies that want to do business in the US, but it's always a great refresher for businesses here in the US too, to actually know, okay, am I doing it correctly, right? Am I protecting my intellectual property? Do I need to trademark this? What do I need to do? It's completely and absolutely free because, again, I love entrepreneurs. I want to see them succeed. And this fourth book, which is the second edition of Go Legal Yourself, this is, again, it's the best money anyone can spend, anyone, because it walks you through the process of what your business is going to go through, Rebecca. You have the startup phase, and what do you have to do there legally, right? You've got the growth phase, and what do you do there legally? And it's all broken down into legalese. You know, it's not legalese, it's plain English. You know, the way I sort of explain this, and I get really excited about my dogs. I absolutely love dogs. I'm a dog person, and actually I have 4 dogs. I've got 2 big girls and I've got 2 senior little dachshunds. And so, you know, I can walk you through the phases by thinking about, okay, the startup phase is a puppy, right? When you first have a puppy, what do you do with that puppy? You're going to put it on a food plan. You're going to exercise it. You're going to train it. And then what happens when the puppy starts growing? That's exactly what happens to your business. The demands change, right? The caring changes. So I break it all down. And the fantastic part of this book too is, again, it comes with a website. And the biggest part on the website, you've got checklists on there that people can just download and start using right away. And they actually have, see, this is how much I want to help entrepreneurs. You have a free business plan template, which costs $500. It's completely free. It comes with the book. Again, I'm a giver because I want you to succeed.
Excellent, excellent. No, this is it. It really is, and I think this is really vital, especially during this time. You know, as businesses start to open back up and people start to go back out again. You know, I think, you know, a lot of people might have been gun shy to hire somebody and or how to hire. You know, I know back in the recession in 2008, 2009 recession, we went down, we probably went down half of our staff. And then when we were starting to grow again, you know, we were very particular how we grew. You know, we cross-trained all of our employees as much as we can. But then eventually you have to start growing again. So I think this is, this was a really important topic today. Now let me ask you this. This is a little bit off the topic. If you hire a independent contractor, and you have a great relationship and you actually want to hire them. Is there anything, so are you asking them to get rid of their business so that you can hire them, or is you're going to just hire them like a regular employee?
So that would be a conversation that you have with your independent contractor. If the person does want to come on board as an employee, and what are the benefits for that person, or if you allow the person to continue providing, say, marketing services. I always say marketing, right, because everybody understands that. So if you want them to continue providing those services to other businesses as an independent contractor, but it should not interfere with their full-time job or part-time job as an employee. So there are terms that you can actually put into the employee agreement. Switching an independent contractor over to an employee, so now you're in a different process, right? So now in this folder of an employee, they're completely different things that you have to have in that folder. And the beauty, again, about the book, Rebecca, it really explains it step by step what you need to do if you're hiring an independent contractor, if you're going to hire an employee. And the beauty about this one too, maybe one day soon, I hope we could do another webinar. And these questions always come up, Rebecca. Should I be a corporation or an LLC? What are the differences, right? But little did you or the guests on the webinar today know that there are at least 7, 8 different types of corporate entities, and the book explains each and every one of them and what you really should be.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And I think, I appreciate, you sharing all of your information. I'm just checking to see if there's any other questions. This is your last bit of time to ask your last bit of legal questions to Kelly. Oh, let's see, I think added the agreement constitution. It says, I just went and added the agreement constitutes a work for hire to my subcontract agreement. Oh, he's just saying congratulations. He's been using, actually, Jeff, great, good to know that we got you all settled there. Anybody else have any questions before we end the webinar? I think that is it, Kelly. Thank you again. We appreciate Edward. I will be in touch with you for your address, and we'll get that book out to you. You know, and I'm sure we'll see Kelly again. I didn't get to say earlier, but Kelly has been she's a big veteran business supporter. She's been part of the VIB since our first year. She was one of our first year presenters at our national conference, and hopefully we're going to have her back again. So we're excited about that. I have nothing else. Just, you know, enjoy your day and hope you all learned something. And we will have this webinar to share tomorrow on our website. This will also be on our YouTube channel, and we're going to share it through our newsletter as well. So feel free to share this with any of your friends that you think that they might need to know any of this information. Again, thank you all. Kelly, thank you again. We appreciate you and your time and doing this a second time for us. You guys all take care and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.